Hi parents, it's Mr. Like. I want to take this opportunity to thank you up front for all of the work that you're going to put in with your student over the next couple of weeks learning science. There's so many things that are going to go on this week. I wanted to give you a quick insider's look at what are some of the things you should focus on when you're helping them through the process. Science involves really three different avenues that we look at in science teaching. Number one's the content, and in this unit we're going to be looking at energy and momentum. We're going to look at kinetic and potential energy, and then also we're going to look at some crashes of things a little later on. Just as important is the idea of practicing as a scientist, and what are those practices that scientists actually do. And we're going to be really focusing on that in this unit. Students are going to be designing their own experiments up front using controlled variables, independent and dependent variables. They're going to be looking at trials, they're looking at data and how do they analyze data, and then finally coming up with a claim that is based on the evidence that they take. This is really what scientists do, and this unit is a really good look at how students can behave as a scientist. So today what we're going to be focusing on is the need for extra trials. So in the actual experiment, when they do that, we're going to be dropping a car from the exact same height every time, but we're going to look and see how accurate our measurement can be. Of course, it's not going to be perfect every time, which is why we kind of take an average of the numbers. I'm not sure actually if fourth graders have worked with an average before. If they don't know how to take an average of a number, meaning add them all up and divide by the number that there are, if they don't know how to do that, that's fine. Just talk about which number is kind of in the middle. You know, if it's 38 and 39 and 42 and 41, just tell them, well, it's somewhere around 40, and they can just use that number without actually doing the math. If they're ready for the math, by all means, have them do the math and calculate the average on each of those trials. The first part of the activity has them looking at the video and doing kind of a notice and wonder chart. If I were in class, I would do a notice and wonder chart. Notices being observations that they made, wonders being questions that they have. Those questions will actually help drive us through the entire lesson. It's really remarkable if we can get the kids to think that they're the ones that are coming up with the experiments that they want to do. So any way you can help facilitate that would be awesome as well. Thank you very much for all of your hard work. In terms of equipment, I suppose I should talk about that. They can use anything they have in the house. If they were at school, we would be using Matchbox cars with Matchbox tracks. Don't feel like you have to go out and buy those things. I'm guessing that some of you, most all of you, have some kind of a car at home. You know, if it's a giant, Barbie pink Corvette, that would be fine. If it was a tiny Matchbox car or anything in between, that would be fine. In terms of a ramp, I'm using the Matchbox track because that's what we have. But you can use anything as simple as a cereal box. Use an old cereal box, clamp it down, and use that as a ramp. And in terms of a measuring device, a meter stick, you probably don't have. That's pretty scientific. But you probably have maybe a yardstick or a tape measure would be fine as well. If they don't have any of those things, you might be able to make your own in terms of just put solid increments on a strip of paper, or even use paper with the little lines on it. In terms of how many lines did it go, that would be fine as well. So anything that they have around the house, they can use to measure. Again, thank you so much for the hard work that you're putting in. If you have any questions, please reach out to your teacher, or feel free to reach out to me. And we really want to make sure these kids really like science.